boys and gals, my name is Sam. How can I help you?
I used to believe night shift jobs were safe, as long as you weren't alone. I was wrong. Sometimes, being surrounded by people makes it worse, because when something goes wrong, everyone pretends they didn't see it. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I was tired of being poor. I was 29, living in Texas, working 2 daytime jobs that barely kept the lights on. I had student loans, medical bills from my mother's cancer treatment, and a car that sounded like it was begging to be put out of its misery. That's when the recruiter from one of the largest technology and communications companies in the United States called me. Fortune 50, global offices, millions of customers, a name you hear every day. They needed overnight customer escalation specialists, night shift, remote support center, high pay, full benefits, minimal supervision. The recruiter said something that stuck with me. Most people can't handle nights, but the ones who can, they stay forever. I thought that was a good thing. I accepted the job 2 days later. The building looked harmless. Glass front, bright logo, huge parking lot that was almost empty at night. Inside, the office was clean, modern, and cold in a way that never felt comfortable. The night shift ran from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. About 30 of us worked overnight. We handled calls that couldn't wait, emergency outages, high priority accounts, government contracts. We were told we were the last line. Every workstation had a headset, 2 monitors, a phone that could not be unplugged, and a camera above the screen for security and quality control. The cameras were always on. I stayed for 4 years, longer than most. The first year was fine and relaxing. Calls were steady but manageable. Coworkers were friendly in that tired, half-awake night. But after a while, I noticed something strange. The same calls kept coming in, not similar calls, the exact same ones, same voices, same problems, same words, over and over again. It came in at 12:47 a.m. The screen showed internal routing, priority black. I had never seen that label before. When I answered, there was breathing. I asked the standard greeting. The breathing stopped. Then a man spoke. "Why did you stop answering last time?" I froze. "I'm sorry, sir," I said. "This is our first connection." He laughed softly. "No," he said. "You hung up on me yesterday at 12:47. I checked the logs. There was no record of such call. The line went dead. When I looked up, my supervisor was standing behind me. "Don't log that one," she said quietly. Then she walked away. Just like the last job, there were rules no one told us about. You learned them by watching others panic. Rule number 1, never mute the call completely. Rule number 2, never ask where the caller is calling from. Rule number 3, if the caller says your full name, end the call immediately and report to management. People who broke these rules didn't get fired. They got reassigned, moved to different floors, different schedules, different teams. After my second year, a pattern emerged. Between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m., the calls changed. Voices sounded wrong, too calm, too familiar. Some callers knew things they shouldn't know, for example, my mother's name, the street I grew up on, what I ate for dinner. These things were beginning to give me concern till one night. One woman whispered, saying, "I can see your screen. You should clean that crack on the left corner." She was right on that. I quickly reported it to the management, but the IT said it was impossible. Security told me to get more sleep. Every night, that same man started calling at 2:13 a.m. Always the same time. The screen never showed a number, just routed. He never spoke at first, just listened. I could hear breathing like wind blowing through a tunnel. One night, I asked, "Sir, how can I help you?" He answered immediately, "I need you to stay." My chest tightened. "Stay where?" I asked. "At your desk," he said. "You leave too much." I began taking fewer breaks. Then none at all. I was afraid to step away. On my 3rd year, a coworker named Elena snapped. She screamed during a call and ripped her headset off, yelling that they were calling from inside the walls. Security escorted her out. The next night, her name still appeared in the call routing system. I answered the call. It was Elena's voice, crying. "I didn't leave," she whispered. "They just moved me somewhere quiet." That was the night I accessed files I wasn't supposed to see. Hidden call logs, internal recordings, flag conversations marked post-employment utilization. That phrase made me sick. The company wasn't just providing support. They were using night workers as anchors, human points of contact for something that existed on the network after midnight, something that needed familiar voices, human attention, permission to speak. The longer you worked nights, the easier it became for the calls to reach you. I quit the next morning. No notice. No explanation. HR didn't argue. They just said, "You've served long enough." That night, my phone rang at 2:13 a.m. Voicemail after voicemail, all silent except for breathing. Then one message came through. That was my voice, saying, "Thank you for calling. How can I help you tonight?" I nearly ran out of my house that night. A week later, I answered. The man responded immediately. "You shouldn't have left without logging out." I whispered, "What do you want?" He paused, then said, gently, "I want you." The call ended, and it's been over a year that I stopped working night shift. But every time the clock hits 2:13 a.m., my phone always lights up. No number. Just a notification from an app I don't remember installing saying, "Incoming calls, missed." Sometimes, when I listen closely, I swear I can hear my own breathing coming from the speaker, waiting for me to answer. Some night shift jobs don't end when you clock out. Some companies don't let go of the people who listen too well. And sometimes, the scariest thing isn't the voice on the line. Rather, it is the torment that comes after you must have left the job. I never wanted to work a night shift. But when you're desperate and your bank account keeps flashing red numbers at you like a warning light, you stop caring about what you want. Then you will only care about what will keep you alive. That's how I ended up working nights for one of the biggest companies in the United States. You've heard of them, and I believe that everyone else in the United States knows them too. They're everywhere, from warehouses down to the glass corporate buildings that glow all through at night. This company is so powerful that people joke it knows what you want before you even apply. I won't say their name, I don't need to. But if you've ever ordered something at 2 a.m. and had it show up the next day, then you already know who I'm talking about. I was 32 when I applied. Recently divorced, drowning in debt, living in a one-bedroom apartment that smelled like old carpet and broken dreams. During the day, I applied everywhere: retail stores, call centers, warehouses, security companies. No one called back. Then I saw a job opportunity with the following description: night operations associate, immediate hire, competitive pay, full benefits. I remember staring at the screen, my finger hovering over the mouse. Night shift meant isolation. It meant sleeping during the day. It meant becoming invisible to everyone you knew. But it also meant money. I applied at 3:17 a.m. They called me back less than 6 hours later. The interview was strange. No small talk, no jokes, no tell me about yourself. Just questions. How do you handle long periods of isolation? Are you comfortable being monitored at all times? Can you follow instructions exactly, even if they don't make sense? Do you believe rules exist for a reason? I needed the job, so I answered the right way. Yes, 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 yes. I was hired on the spot. The facility was massive, bigger than anything I had ever worked in before. From the outside, it looked like a sleeping giant. Rows of concrete walls, no windows, The security gates hummed softly as if something was there. The night shift begins from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. When I first walked in, they handed me a badge. Not just an ID badge. A smart badge. It tracked where you were, how long you stayed in one place, and what doors you accessed. They told us it was for efficiency and safety. I remember the trainer smiling when she said that. "Don't lose it," she added. "The building doesn't like that." I laughed. I stayed for 3 years. 3 years of nights. At first, it wasn't bad. I worked in internal monitoring, checking system logs, walking assigned floors, responding to automated alerts, and most nights were boring. The kind of boring that makes your thoughts louder. But after about 6 months, things started to change. Not all at once. Just little by little. The first time it happened, I blamed exhaustion. At exactly 2:13 a.m., every monitor in the control room went off. Then one screen showed a message that says, "Unauthorized presence, level B2." That wasn't unusual by itself. False alerts happened. What was unusual was that B2 was sealed at night. No one worked there. I radioed security. "Probably a sensor glitch," the voice replied. "Log it and move on." I did. But when I checked the access logs later, I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. My badge had briefly registered on level B2. I haven't been anywhere near that elevator. I reported it. HR told me the system had been recalibrated and errors were expected. I wanted to believe them. After that, I started noticing the sounds. The building was never truly silent, but these were different. Footsteps, where no one has ever been to. A slow dragging noise behind walls. I asked another night worker about it. He looked at me, then said, "You hear them too?" Before I could answer, he laughed it off. "Old building," he said, "settles at night." But his hands were shaking immediately he said that. Few days after I confronted one of the workers there, I came to realize that there were rules they didn't put in the handbook. You learn them the hard way. Rule number 1, never follow a voice calling your name. Rule number 2, if an elevator opens on a floor you didn't select, do not exit. Rule number 3, if your badge vibrates, stop moving immediately. No one officially taught us these. We learned by watching others panic or disappear. People quit often. Some just didn't come back again. Their names removed from schedules like they never existed. Around my second year, I started seeing her. A woman reflected in the glass walls, always behind me. She wore the same uniform as me, but older, like it had been worn for decades. Whenever I turned around, she wasn't there, but my badge would vibrate violently afterward. I heard her whisper to me once. I didn't sleep for 2 days after that. It happened on a Tuesday. It always seems to be a Tuesday. The night started normal. At 1:59 a.m., my badge vibrated. That had never happened before without an alert. Then every monitor went black. Emergency lights turned on, painting the hallways in deep red. A message appeared on my screen saying, "Head count discrepancy detected." I radioed in. No response. I checked the roster. It showed one extra person on shift. That person was me. And there was no someone else in the building. My name was listed twice. One marked active. One marked pending. The elevators began moving on their own. Doors opening and closing. I heard footsteps running upstairs. Then screaming started. Against every instinct I had, the system forced my route to level B2. My badge buzzed, heating against my chest. The elevator descended far longer than it should have. When the doors opened, the air smelled wrong, like something sealed away and forgotten. The lights went off, revealing rows of desks. Each one had a badge on it. Thousands of them, all labeled. Mine was already there. I heard breathing behind me. A voice spoke from the darkness saying, "Your shift is almost over." With fear inside of me, I finally understood. The night shift wasn't just about work. It was about replacement. When employees burned out, broke down, or noticed too much, the system created backups. The woman that once appeared at my back during one of my night shift quickly stepped forward. She looked like me, and that is what I can't explain. "You worked long enough," she said softly. "Now you belong to the building." My badge burned. I screamed as I ran out of the building. I don't know how I made it out. I remember ripping the badge off and throwing it into the dark. The screaming that followed wasn't human. I woke up outside the facility at sunrise. My badge was gone. So was my job. HR sent me an email later that day. "Thank you for your service. Your employment has concluded." No explanation. Just silence. And that was 2 years ago. But up till now, I still wake up at 2:13 a.m. every night, with my phone lighting up with a notification from an unknown app I never installed. It only says one thing: pending status not resolved. And last week, I saw a job opportunity again that says night shift worker needed. And my name was already filled in. So if you are watching this in any of our platform, I want you to know this. Never trade your well-being, identity, or humanity for survival money. Desperation can make people accept conditions they would normally question. This story shows how ignoring red flags, strange rules, total surveillance, emotional isolation, and lack of transparency can slowly strip a person of their sense of reasoning. If a workplace treats people like data instead of humans, that means it will eventually consume you if you stay.